Hi, I'm Rick Keller, and this is my wife, Alene. We have 5 sons, and between the oldest and the youngest is 10 years. And they're close, and I think the reason they are close is Farm Bureau, because of my absence and that required them to do things together. And then we have 5 beautiful daughter-in-laws that goes along with them.
And we're expecting our 18th grandchild in March.
All I wanted to do is be a banker, and so my aunt was a officer in the bank, and I just wanted to be a banker. That's what I went to school for. I studied finance and graduated, and I worked for a bank. Back in the day, it was Idaho First National Bank, and I enjoyed helping people, learning the things of finance. It was all exciting for me. And then an opportunity came that I wanted to move up, and it wasn't there that I thought it was going to be there. And so I became disfranchised, and at that time we're looking for things to do. And we had a real good friend of ours, and he says, well, Rick, why don't you go work for Farm Bureau? And because his father, Mike's father, was Oscar Field, who was the president of Farm Bureau at the time. And it just so happened that they had an opening, and I had some experience in agriculture just because my grandparents farmed, but very limited. And I said, I can't help much, but I do understand finance. And I remember Lynn Park says, well, farmers know how to farm. They need help with finance. And I was hired brought on to develop a financial course for farmers and ranchers, and that never materialized. The agendas changed and stuff. But anyway, so it was the banking background that got me started in Farm Bureau. And
You know, I was raised on a farm. My dad was a farmer and a cattle rancher, and I loved that life. But I knew, watching my dad over the years struggle with crops and prices and weather and all of it, I didn't want to marry a farmer, but I loved the life. And so when we had the opportunity to work for Farm Bureau, it was just the best of both worlds, because we got to work with all the farmers and ranchers throughout the state, but we didn't have that stress of having a farm. And so it was perfect. I told Rick, I said, you can't retire because we have no friends. We retire from Farm Bureau, our friends are all gone. And because Farm Bureau has just been our family. And I guess we would go to the meetings, and we raised our kids together. 40 years we were in Farm Bureau. We had our family, and we'd go to the meetings, and that was the highlight of getting to visit with the volunteers and seeing what their families were doing and what their kids were involved in, and it was just it was, and it still is, our family. Somebody had asked me about our retirement, and somebody had made a comment to me, oh, you probably have a really long honey-do list now that Rick's finally home. And I said, nope, I don't, because Rick, for one thing, he's not a list person, but the other thing is, all I had to do was tell him once that something was broken, something needed to be fixed, whatever, and it was done within a day, 2 days. I never had to mention it again. He was that way with Farm Bureau. He, every task that he was given, depending on the complexity of it, he would either get right on it, or he'd, delegate it, or send it out. But no, he never had a honey-do list, because he was the type that he got right onto it and got it done. And so, no, retirement's been really, really fun, because we haven't had a lot to do. He hasn't.
I don't think the volunteers realize the organization that they're in, its strength and its power. And you know, I was in the thick and thin of it. I was able to see it, but also stepping back, and I'm just amazed at the power of a county farm bureau and what they're able to accomplish. And Idaho Farm Bureau went 20 years with nearly every county with a county farm bureau without a state organization. And it was a powerful force. And of course the state came along, but the counties are where it's at. And that's the strength, and that's where the vitality is, if they could only envision what their county farm bureaus can do. And if we can just remember that, that's one of my greatest observations, is the strength of the counties.